Bring the jury back out.
It's not. One of the jurors in the bathroom.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about the delay. There was a legal issue that I needed to address. I've addressed that issue. We're ready to proceed. The defense can call their next witness.
Judge, the defense would call Katie Caneiro.
Karen, just watch your step. If you could just put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. You could be seated. Once you're comfortable, you can state your full name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Caitlin Caneiro, Caneiro.
All right, thank you. Ms. Passalone, when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Katie.
Morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury and explain your relationship to Mr. Paul Caneiro?
Yeah, I'm Katie Caneiro, and I'm Paul Caneiro's oldest daughter.
And are you currently employed?
Yeah, I'm an ER nurse at a local hospital.
And who else is in your immediate family?
It's me, my mom Susan, and my sister Marissa.
And is your mom Susan and your dad Paul, are they still married?
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit more about who else is in your family. Outside of your immediate family, which members of your family were you closest with?
My Aunt Jen, my Uncle Keith, and their kids Jesse and Sophia.
And your Uncle Keith is your dad's brother?
Yeah, he's his younger brother.
And younger by how much?
About a year.
So, in addition to Keith being your dad's brother, is there another brother or another uncle that you have?
Yeah, Corey Caneiro.
And who was Corey married to back in November of 2018?
Elisa Bertacci Caneiro.
Okay. And for approximately how long were they together for?
Objection. Relevance.
Just how long she's known her, Judge?
Yeah, it's not really relevant, but go ahead.
My whole life.
Okay.
Now, I want to focus a little more closely on the family dynamics. You mentioned that you were closest to your Uncle Keith and his family. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I looked at my Aunt Jen and my Uncle Keith as like second parents. Growing up, we did everything together, and it wasn't really like an extended family. It was one big family, I guess you would say. So when I was younger, we would go on vacations about once a year together, whether it was Disney World or Mexico or Puerto Rico. And then as I got older, I got my license, so I was able to like go to their house more and visit my cousins. which was nice. But as I got even older, like after 21, we would go to happy hour together, out to dinner and everything. But we spent so much time together, I would see them all the time.
Did you spend holidays together?
Oh yeah, we spent every holiday, whether it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day. We did Greek Easter every year. So every holiday we spent together.
What about birthdays?
Birthdays, yeah, my whole life. Whether it's my birthday, my sister's, the kids' parties, or family event, like birthday parties, but all 8 of us would get together and celebrate.
And how often would you personally see them on average?
At least once a week.
Katie, I'm going to approach you with what's been previously marked as D1-424 through D1-430. If I may approach.
Okay.
Katie, I'm showing you what's been marked as D1-424. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Is that a family photo?
Yeah, we were in Mexico.
Okay. And D1-425, do you recognize everyone in that photo?
Yes.
I'm just going to ask that you do the same for 1-426. You recognize the people in that photo?
Yeah.
And 1-427. And 1-428.
Yep.
And 1-429. Yes?
Yes.
And
sorry.
1-430.
Yes.
Okay. Now, these photos I showed you, did they accurately depict photos of your family?
Yeah.
And you recognize all the individuals in these photos?
Yes.
Okay, permission to publish?
Do we have a time frame of when those pictures were taken?
Just generally speaking, what would you say the time frame of these photos were?
Most of them are after 2008 or 9, but there's one, I was probably 13.
Is that the first one?
Yeah.
So all of those pictures are around 2008 and 2000
No, they were after that time because,
after 2008.
yeah, Jesse and Sophia were born.
Okay, so can you just give us a like?
Okay, so
that we
I guess
understand?
after, like 2014 to 17.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to show what's first been marked as D1-424. And was this the oldest photo in the bunch?
Yeah, this is when I was younger,
Okay.
before they had kids.
And where was this photo taken?
We were at a hibachi restaurant in Mexico.
Okay.
Cancun.
And who's going from, let's say, left to right, who's in the photo?
It's my dad, me, my Aunt Jen standing, she's touching my Uncle Keith, and then my mom, and then my sister Marissa.
And I think, did you mention that, how often would you vacation with Keith and Jennifer and eventually their children?
At least once a year. It was, yeah, at least once a year. And then as I got older, we would go more places together.
And I'm going to next show what's been marked as D1-425. Can you tell us who's in this photo from left to right?
It's my mom, Susan, and we have Jesse, and then my dad, and he's holding Sophia. And that's for my mom's birthday, which would be in the summer.
Okay, this was your mom's birthday?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know, like, approximately what year that was taken? It can be approximate.
I want to say at least 2012.
And I'm going to next show what's been marked as D1-426. And do you recognize who's in that photo?
Yeah, it's my dad and Jesse, and this is my dad's birthday at our house. Jesse loved birthday cake, so he would always be in the front.
You said this was your dad's birthday.
Yeah, my dad's birthday.
Okay. And whose house is this?
Mine.
All right. Now I'm going to show what's been marked as D1-427. Okay. And who's in this photo?
My dad and Sophia. And this is also at my house. looks like it's Christmas.
Christmas?
Yeah.
And D1-428. Can you tell us who's in this photo?
My dad and Sophia are in the front of the photo, and then it's the Pritchett's, Molly, and Sophie. And then they have a friend that is with, and I can't see who he's with.
And when you say the Pritchetts, are you referring to Stacy and Jim's children?
Yes.
That's who we heard from? Okay.
And this is at my pool.
Okay. And is there anything that you want to explain to the jury about, just like the circumstances under which, was this one of the barbecues or something else?
Yeah, this was just a random barbecue that we had. It wasn't like a holiday or anything. But we used to always like to swim on my dad like that, so we would hold his shoulders and he would go under, and either we'd go under with him or, I don't know, Sophia would have at that time, but she would have floated at the top with him.
And I'm going to show it's been marked as D1-429. And who's in that photo?
My dad and Jesse.
And what are they doing?
They're on one of the, I don't know what exactly it is, but a machine that my uncle had for his lawn. So they're at my uncle's house.
Like a ride-on mower?
Yeah.
And is this is at your uncle's house?
Yeah, my uncle Keith's.
Okay. And lastly, I'm going to show it's been marked as D1-430. What can you tell us about this photo?
This is my dad and Jesse, and it looks like they're building a battleship together. And this is also at my house.
Thank you. Now, obviously, I think, were those the only photos ever taken of the family?
No.
Okay. Was that just a sample
Yeah.
of a few? Mm-hmm. All right. Did your family take a lot of photos?
Yeah.
And now, you mentioned that you would see your Keith and Jennifer and the other family on average maybe once a week, right?
Yeah. As a whole, I would
As a
see
whole.
them once a week, but I'd probably see my uncle more times a week.
Okay. What about, to your knowledge, what about your dad, Paul? How often would he see Keith and Keith see Paul? How often would they see each other?
Almost every day.
And what about their level of communication? To your knowledge, how often would they communicate?
Every day.
And how do you know this? What's your basis of knowledge?
I lived with my dad most of my life, so I was there for it.
And were you, what are some of the things, to your knowledge, that they would do when they would see each other?
My uncle really liked to eat, so they would go out to eat a lot, whether it was lunch or dinner. But he would come over our house, or my dad would go over his house to help him with stuff, and we'd just hang out.
Was everything always pre-planned, or was sometimes
No.
it unannounced?
Yeah, my uncle would show up if he was free. He would, even with me, he would just be like, "Hey, are you around? I'm near the area. Let's go out to lunch."
And the level of contact between your dad and Keith, was it consistent as far as you knew for?
Yeah, my whole life they were like that.
And you mentioned that they're very close personally. What about, are you aware of the businesses that they own together?
Yeah, they own two businesses together, Square One and EcoStar.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. Approximately how long were they in business together?
My whole life.
And to your knowledge, did your dad and Keith often communicate specifically about the business?
Yes.
And during the course of the communications that they had, did you ever have the opportunity to observe any disagreements between them?
I mean, they were brothers, so they would fight like brothers, but they would work it out themselves.
When they had a disagreement, did it ever affect the family in any way?
No. If they were having a disagreement earlier that morning and we all had like plans to go out to dinner or something, it wouldn't change the fact nothing would be canceled. We'd still all go and everything was fine.
Did your families go out to lunch or dinner often?
Yeah.
And just briefly, with respect to Corey, How did he fit into the family dynamic, as far as you know?
I mean, he's their younger brother, but he would come around occasionally. It really just depended on what he had going on in his life at that time.
And did Corey have any ownership in the businesses?
No.
Now, focusing on 2018 specifically, just to orient ourselves. In 2018, how old were you?
I was 26.
And how old was your sister?
23.
What about your dad?
51.
And so that would make Keith.
50.
And how old was Corey?
He was the same age as my Aunt Jen, so 45.
And focusing on 2018 also for a moment, we heard a little bit about this. Were your parents experiencing any marital issues?
Yeah.
Despite that, did you still do things as a family?
Yeah, my dad would still cook us dinner or lunch, whatever it was. We would still eat together as a family. We'd still go out to dinner as a family. We'd all hang out still as a family. It was more between them.
So as far as the family dynamic generally as a family, did it change anything?
No.
Now, talking about, we've also heard a little bit about your dad's room. At the time, 2018, was your dad essentially sleeping in a separate room?
Yeah, he was in the guest bedroom.
Okay. Notwithstanding that, to your knowledge, did your dad still use the master bedroom for any reason?
Yeah, all his clothes were in the master bedroom. All his medications were in the nightstand next to his side of the bed. He would use the shower in the master bathroom, and occasionally he would still sleep in there if he wasn't feeling well or anything like that.
And in the summer of 2018, specifically, the family dynamic, we just talked about it. Where was it the same?
Yeah.
And in the summer of 2018, where was Corey living?
My Aunt Jen and Uncle Heath's basement.
And how do you know that?
Like I said before, I'd be over their house all the time, so I firsthand saw that he was staying in the basement.
And what was the approximate time frame?
I want to say from like June of 2018 to September of 2018.
And by the way, did your dad ever live in Keith's basement?
No.
Okay. Were there a couple times throughout your life where your dad had another living location or stayed outside of the home temporarily?
Yeah, twice.
Okay. So let's talk about the first time. How old were you the first time?
I was still in high school. I don't remember exactly what age, but...
And at that point, where was your dad staying?
He had rented a place in Manasquan.
Okay. And how long did that last?
Maybe like a couple months, but he really just used it to sleep. He was over every day.
He was over your house every day?
Yeah.
And when was the second time?
I don't know the exact year, but it was after 2014 because I already graduated college. But he had a place in Ocean Township.
And was that similarly a few months or how long?
It was a little longer, maybe 6 months, but same thing. Like just he used it to sleep. It wasn't. I saw him every day still. He was over the house still every day.
And so other than that, your dad lived in your home?
Yes.
Now, had Corey ever been to your house before? Yeah. And how often would you say Corey was at your house?
Like I said before, it really depended on what was going on in his life, but he would pop over occasionally, sporadically.
And did he ever come to the barbecues or the birthdays or anything like that?
Rarely. Not the barbecues, but some birthdays maybe when I was younger. But
And what about the summer of 2018? Did he come over to your house at all then?
yeah, he was over a lot more. He was staying at my uncle's house, Uncle Keith's house, so he definitely stopped by my house a lot more.
Were there times when he would stop by and no one else from your family was home?
Yes.
So he would be there with who?
His kids, he would bring them over to use our pool.
Did Keith have a pool?
Yeah, he had a bigger and better pool with a diving board.
Now, you mentioned Corey's been to your house, so do you know whether Corey's been to your basement before?
Yes.
And were you ever there when Corey was in your basement?
Yes.
What about the unfinished part of your basement?
Yes.
Have you ever personally, in the unfinished part, is that where your dad's guns were located?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever personally seen your dad, like, showing Corey his guns or anything like that?
Yeah.
And now fast forwarding a little bit to the weekend before November 20th of 2018.
Okay.
So, what, if anything, did you do that weekend what, if anything, did you and your dad do together that weekend?
That Sunday, I guess it was the 18th, me and my dad went food shopping for Thanksgiving because every year my dad would cook the food and then we'd bring it over to my uncle's house to eat.
You said every Thanksgiving?
Yeah, after Jesse was born. He was born in November, so that first year he was born, we still had it at my house, but then every year after that, we always had it at my aunt and uncle's house.
And who did the cooking?
My dad. He loved to cook, and he's a great cook.
Okay, so that Sunday you went food shopping with your dad?
Yep, and we got all the food,
Thanksgiving?
yep.
Okay. And what was the plan was what?
My dad cooks the food on Thanksgiving, and then we'd drive it over and reheat it up at my uncle's house.
And when you say your uncle's house?
Uncle Keith.
Okay. And now, before you went food shopping, but on the 18th, what, if anything, was your dad doing?
My dad was on the computer, and he was fixing our Wi-Fi. It was really slow, and it was not working right.
And fast forwarding now to the next day, to Monday the 19th. Tell me what you did that day. Tell us what you did that day.
I went to work from 9 to 5, and then I came home, and my mom had cooked dinner, so I ate dinner with her. My sister was out shopping for, I forget what, but she came home around 7, and me and my mom were in the living room watching a movie together, and I think my sister stayed down with us for a little while, but she shortly went up to bed, and I didn't have work the next day till like 1:30, so I stayed up a little later, but my mom probably went up to bed around 10, and then I stayed up till probably 11 and went up to bed.
Okay. And what was your dad doing at that time?
By the time I got home, he was already asleep.
Okay. Was that unusual for your dad to be sleeping at that time?
No, just because some days he didn't feel well, so he would sleep.
And when you said you went to bed at 11?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, moving on to the morning of the 20th. What's the first thing you remember?
The first thing I remember was my dad, he was like shaking me awake, and he was saying that the house was on fire and we needed to get out.
And what's the first thing that you see when you wake up?
I turned my lights on, and the top half of my room was filled with black smoke.
So then what did you do?
I grabbed my inhaler and I went to go escape the house. And I got to the top of the stairs. And when I got to the top of the stairs, I heard my mom saying, "The dogs won't get off the bed. They won't get off the bed." So I called them, and then I finally heard them both jump off the bed. So I started to go down the stairs. And when I went down the stairs I was about halfway down, I heard like a bang, and my dad screamed, "Fuck my hand."
And where did you go once you got down the stairs?
I went to go out the front door.
And when you went out the front door, what, if anything, did you see? When you were out there?
Before I exited the house, I turned around to make sure that my parents were following me. And I saw my dad turn towards the garage.
Okay. And what did you do once you got outside?
Once I got outside, I called 911.
Do you remember the time that you called 911, the exact time?
Yeah, 4:58 in the morning.
How do you remember that time?
I looked at my call log, but it was also something that stood out to me. It was a scary day.
And so as you're on the phone with 911, what's happening at this point? What do you see?
I get off like my front porch and I go to like the grass area and I look towards the garage, and I can see that the lights turned on, which means that the garage doors were opening, and then the porch lights came down the driveway.
And was that your dad pulling the car out?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the time that you were exiting your house and you saw your dad going toward the garage, to the time that you saw the garage door coming up and the light and the Porsche coming out, how much time had passed?
Under a minute.
And at that time, did you ever see your dad holding a gas can?
No.
Did you ever see your dad trying to light any fires?
No.
Did your dad smell like gasoline?
No.
Now, after your dad pulling the Porsche out of the driveway, what happens next?
He pulled it in front of the house, and then my sister and the dogs got in the car, and then I hung up with 911, and I waited for my mom to get out of the house.
Okay. Do you recall how long that you were on the phone with 911 for, the exact time?
No.
No. Would seeing a copy of your extraction report refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
I'm going to show what's been marked as D-152. I'm approaching with what's been marked as D-152. Do you recognize this as an extraction report from your phone?
Yeah.
And do you see the number that you dialed listed on there?
Yeah, it says 911.
Okay. And do you see the time of the call?
Yeah, 4:58.
Okay. And then I'm just going to direct your attention to the duration. If you want to just read it to yourself and then look up when you're done. Okay. How long did that call to 911 last for?
A minute and 41 seconds.
Okay. So your dad comes down the driveway, he parks in front of the house somewhere, and then what happens? Does your family get in the car?
My sister and the dogs do, but my mom was still in the house. She went to go grab her shoes, a coat, and the dog's leashes. So I waited for her to get out.
So did she take a couple minutes longer than everyone else?
Yeah.
And you mentioned shoes, a coat, and leashes. Did anyone in your family not have shoes?
Yeah, me, my sister, and my dad all ran out with no shoes.
Okay. And what was your dad wearing?
He's wearing a t-shirt and shorts.
And at some point, like later in the morning, did anyone give you and your sister and your dad clothes?
Yeah, they gave us coats and sneakers. Well, me and my sister coats and sneakers, and I think they gave my dad pants and sneakers.
Okay. And once you're in the car, what happens next?
We waited for the first responders to come.
Okay. And did the first responders come?
Yes.
Okay. And once the first responders get there, what are they doing?
Trying to put out the fire in my house.
And as that's happening, are you and your family inside of the Porsche Cayenne vehicle?
Yes.
And what, if any, phone calls were made?
My dad called both his brothers.
Okay. And so that's Keith and Corey? Mm-hmm. Okay. Who did he call first?
I think my Uncle Keith.
Okay. And did Keith answer?
No.
And so then, did he then call Corey?
Yes.
And did Corey answer?
No.
Okay. So then what, if any, additional calls were made?
My sister was the only person that had Elisa's number, so she called her.
And do you recall the exact time that she called, when you say your sister, is that Marissa?
Marissa, yes.
Okay, do you recall the exact time that she called Elisa?
No.
Okay. Would showing a copy of her call log help refresh your recollection as to the time?
Yeah.
I'm going to approach with what's been marked as D-153. And you recognize this as your sister's call log?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to direct your attention to the second page here, and, specifically this call, and the time would be listed here if you want to take a look at that and then look up when you're done.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what time did your sister call Lisa?
5:43 in the morning.
Now, during that call that your sister made to Elisa, did your dad speak to Corey?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that call, what happened?
Corey drove to my house.
Okay. And so the call was at 5:43. Approximately how much later did Corey get there? How long did it take him to get there?
Like a half hour later.
Okay, so that would be approximately what time?
6:15, 6:20.
And was it still dark out?
Yes.
And how did Corey get there?
He drove.
What kind of car did he drive?
He had a white Jetta.
Now, do you know where Corey was coming from that morning?
Yeah. He and his family lived in Fairhaven.
And approximately how far away is Fairhaven from your house?
20 to 30 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Like depending on traffic?
Yeah. During the day, it takes a little longer because there's no direct route.
And once Corey gets there, approximately how long is he there for?
He stayed until around 9:30 in the morning.
Okay. And at some point, did you go anywhere with Corey?
Yeah, he drove me and my sister to go grab bagels.
And after that, approximately what time did you guys get back from the bagels?
We were probably gone for like a half hour, so maybe. We got back from getting the bagels and he pretty much left. He had an appointment somewhere.
Okay. And so Corey leaves, and then after that, what, if any, additional calls were you making that morning?
I called my Aunt Jen and Uncle Keith a bunch of times.
And when you say you called Aunt Jen and Uncle Keith, like what numbers, not the phone numbers specifically, but like what phones are you calling?
I called my Aunt Jen's cell phone, I called my Uncle Keith's cell phone, I called the house phone, and I called Jesse's iPad.
And of those, so it was the Keith's phone, Jennifer's phone, the house phone, and Jesse's iPad. Four phones?
Yeah.
Of those four, did any of them not ring?
Yeah, the house phone went straight to voicemail.
Okay. And so how many times did you call the house line? If you
Just
recall?
once.
Okay. And why did you only call it once?
Because it was off. There was no point.
Okay. So the phones that were ringing, you continued to call?
Yes.
Okay. Approximately in total, how many times would you say you called those phones that morning, like in total?
About 20.
And did any?
No one answered.
And specifically with respect to Jennifer's phone, was her phone ringing?
Yes, it rang normally and then went to voicemail.
What was the approximate time frame that you were calling these phones that morning?
I would say from 9:30ish to 12.
That's approximate.
Yeah.
Okay. And to your recollection, did Jennifer's phone ring?
Yeah.
Were you also sending text messages that morning?
Yeah, I texted my Uncle Keith and I texted my Aunt Jen.
Do you remember the time that you sent your Aunt Jen a text message?
No.
No. Would seeing a copy of the text message with the timestamp help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
I am approaching with what's been marked as D-154. I'm just going to direct your attention to the name. Okay. again the specific text with
Okay.
the... Okay. Does that help refresh your recollection of what time you sent a text message to your Aunt Jennifer?
Yes.
And what time was that?
10:26 in the morning.
Okay. Now, what kind of phone does your Aunt Jennifer, what kind of phone did your Aunt Jennifer have?
She had an iPhone.
And do you still have that text message in your phone today?
Yes.
And did you look at that text message recently in the past day or two?
Yes.
Now, prior to the last day or two, when was the last time you looked at that text message?
The day I sent it, November 20th, 2018.
So you haven't looked at the message since?
No.
When you looked at it in the last day or two, what, if anything, did you notice about that text message? Or iMessage? Is it a text message or an iMessage?
It's an iMessage, and it changed from delivered to read.
So, do you have any idea when that would have changed?
No, I didn't look at it for 7 years.
The fact that it now says red, did that stand out to you?
Yeah, because who read it? He wasn't alive to read it.
Turning back to the scene of your house fire, what were you and your family doing while first responders were on scene?
We were in my mom's car, and then we would occasionally use our neighbors' bathrooms.
And which neighbors were you, whose bathrooms were you using?
I personally used Marilyn's, my next door neighbor, and then John Harrington's,
Okay.
across the street from me.
And were you speaking to your neighbors during that time as well?
Yes.
At some point, did anyone in your family need something from your house?
Yeah, my dad has diabetes, so he needed the insulin from inside the house.
And were you able to get the medication?
Eventually, yes, but it was difficult to get. I had to keep explaining and going back and forth, trying to say why he needed the medicine. Because they said that they had to take pictures of the whole house, and then we would be able to get in, but he needed it sooner than that.
Now, at some point, was there a search? And so ultimately, did he get the medication then?
Yes.
At some point, was there a search of your dad's vehicle?
Yes.
And when I say your dad's vehicle, which vehicle are we talking about?
It was the Porsche Macan Loaner.
And you reference it as a loaner because...
His car was in the shop at that time.
Okay. And around what time was the search of your dad's vehicle?
10:40.
And was your dad present for the search?
No, we walked up the driveway to go see, and when we got to the top, they told us we had...
Objection, hearsay.
When you got to the top of the driveway, were you permitted to stay for the search?
No,
And where were you directed to go?
the street.
And could you see the search from the street?
No.
But were you able to take some photos?
Yes.
Now, during this time, where's Marissa, your sister?
My sister's boyfriend at the time picked her and the dogs up so that the dogs weren't just in the car anymore, and they took them back to his house.
Okay, so your sister left with
Her boyfriend
her
at the time.
boyfriend
Yep.
and the dogs?
And the dogs.
Okay. And how did she leave?
He picked her up.
Do you know approximately what time this was? Approximate?
I really don't, but I want to say around 10:15, 10:30.
Okay. Now, at some point, was there a request for you to go to the police station?
Yes.
And around what time was that?
11:30, 11:45.
Okay. And did you want to go to the police station at that point?
I had work at 1:30, and we were still in pajamas and random clothes, so we wanted to go change and brush our teeth. and then go to the police station.
And were you able to go change and do the things that you wanted to do?
No.
Were you directed to report to the police station?
Yes.
Also, was there a point in time where you wanted to get anything from your car?
Yeah, like I said, I had work that day, and I needed to get my purse and wallet out of my car and some things for work out of it.
Were you permitted to get things out of your car?
No.
And when you were directed to go to the police station, was your sister there, or was she still with her boyfriend?
She was still at her boyfriend's house.
Okay, so did she meet you there?
Yes, she got dropped off a couple minutes after we got there.
And so, in the Porsche Cayenne vehicle, who was in the vehicle, like traveling to the police station together?
Me, my mom, and my dad.
Okay. And was anyone following you?
Yeah, the detectives in like an unmarked car.
When you arrived at the police station, when you were still in your car, what personal items did you have with you?
I had only my cell phone and my inhaler that I grabbed that morning.
And did you leave anything in the car when you went to the police station?
Yes, I left my inhaler in the car.
Why did you leave the inhaler in your car?
The detectives pulled up behind us and said it would only be like a short time to just meet them in the lobby and leave whatever in the car.
They told you to leave things in the car? Now, once you get there, how soon after you does your sister get dropped off?
With less than 10 minutes.
Okay. So once your family is there, where in the police station do you go?
It was like through the front door, and there was like a little sitting area, like the lobby.
And do you recall, like, approximately what, I know it was a long time ago, so we're speaking like general approximations, but approximately what time did you get there?
Probably around 12.
Okay. And how long were you guys in the lobby area for?
Over an hour.
And what, if anything, happened at some point when you were in the lobby?
Like I said before, I had work that day at 1:30, and it was about 1:10-ish, and I was getting impatient, so I went up to the receptionist or secretary or whoever, and I was like, how much longer is this going to take? And at that time, my dad started screaming and crying that my uncle's house was on fire. And he got a text from Ben saying that he needed to go to my uncle's.
And is that how your dad found out?
Yes.
And so what did you do at that point?
I walked out the front door of the police station and I called my Uncle Corey.
Why did you call Corey?
Because I wanted him to go to my uncle's house and make sure everyone was okay.
And what, if anything, did you try to do at that point?
I had the car keys to my mom's car and I tried to leave to go to my uncle's house.
And were you permitted to leave?
No, the detectives stopped me.
And why were you trying to leave?
Because no one was answering me. Sorry. So I wanted to make sure they were okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Take your time. Ready? So now that you know Keith's house is on fire, what happens next?
I go back into the police station and they start bringing us like downstairs to the main, I guess, area of the police station. And I was just like panicking. I was telling them my uncle's address, like they had to do something. And they were being very vague and kind of just hinted that they knew already. and it was being taken care of.
Okay. And where did they bring you?
It's like down a couple steps into like the main area of the police station, I guess. It's a bunch of cubicles that I guess the detectives worked at. And then we were seated in like a conference room, I guess. It was a long table with numerous chairs. Me and my sister sat next to each other, and then my dad and mom sat across from us.
Okay. And if, again, I know it's a long time, so just an approximate, but approximately how long were you in the conference room for?
I was say over 45 minutes, but I'm not sure. I don't remember.
What are you doing what are you personally doing while you're in the conference room?
I asked them about their Wi-Fi because there was no cell service down there, and they kind of just, like, I guess not said, but there was no Wi-Fi password, so I somehow got onto their Wi-Fi, and I was Googling my uncle's house and just looking at live updates.
Okay, so you were able to access, like, media and through Google?
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure if I asked you this, but approximately what time is it when you get down to the conference room? Approximately.
Like 1:20.
And so what, if anything, are you learning through the media when you're searching things?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
The media coverage, what, did it regard your uncle's house?
Judge, I'm objecting hearsay.
I'll allow that question, but no further as it relates to what the media is saying.
Yeah, just specific, just the only question is, like, did it regard
Yes.
your uncle's house? And, now, at some point, while you're in the conference room, what is the demeanor of your family? How's everyone doing at this point?
All really upset. We're all crying. My dad's like struggling to breathe. He's crying. My mom's hysterical. I'm crying.
And at some point, did they remove you from the conference room?
Yes, they took me into an interrogation room.
Why are you calling it an interrogation room?
That's what they referred to it as, and it was a small room with white walls and a desk and a chair, and then no windows.
When they took you out of the conference room, did they take anyone else out of the conference room?
Yeah, they called me and my mom at the same time, and my sister and my dad were still in the conference room.
And did they put you and your mom together in a room, or did
It's
they
separate rooms.
separate interrogation rooms?
Mm-hmm.
And so, who's in the room with you at that point?
2 detectives.
And what's happening now?
They started asking me questions, and the first question they asked me was if I knew who was shot outside of my uncle's house.
And what was your response?
I started screaming and crying. Because I obviously knew it was my uncle at that point.
Did they continue to ask you questions?
Yeah.
And when they were asking you questions, how long did this last for?
At least an hour.
And during the time that they're asking you questions, what, if anything, are you asking them?
I keep asking them if my cousins are okay, and no one would give me an answer. I kept asking to leave, and they said as soon as I give my statement.
And was there anything else? Were you under the impression that your cousins were located somewhere?
Yeah, they basically told me that once I gave my statement, they would take me to them. at whatever hospital they were at.
After they ask you some questions, now, did you give a statement in this case, like a typed statement?
When I was in this room, no, but they took me in another room later, and yes, that's when I gave a formal statement.
So the questions that you're referencing now, is that the same as your typed
None of
statement or
those.
different?
Different, completely different.
So the statement comes later.
Yes.
So now it's just questions, lasts for about an hour. And at some point, do the detectives leave the room?
Yeah, they left the room.
And what happens after they leave the room?
I was in there for a while, so I had to use the bathroom. So I tried to leave, and the door was locked, so I started banging on the door until someone opened it. And then they kind of were like, well, they escorted me to the bathroom at that point.
And after you went to the bathroom, then what happens next?
They escorted me back into like the main area of the police station with all the cubicles.
And were you with your family? Or
No, we were all separated at this point. I could see into the conference room, and I saw my dad's back. My sister was no longer in the conference room.
At some point, did they take your statement?
Yes.
And do you recall approximately what time they finally took your statement?
I don't.
Would seeing a copy of your statement refresh your recollection as to the
Yeah.
time? I have, I marked as D151. I can approach.
Okay.
Do you recognize this? I'll take this one. As a copy of your statement?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it have your name on it?
Yes.
And it's, looks like 8 pages long.
Yep.
And I think you,
Yeah.
okay. And does it have a start time and an end time?
Yeah, it starts at 3:40, and then looks like it ends at 5:21.
Approximately 2 hours?
Yeah.
So at around 3:40, they start to take your statement. And after you gave your statement, what, if anything, did you learn at that point?
They finally confirmed that they all died.
And when you say they, who are you referring to?
My aunt, my uncle, and my 2 cousins.
And who confirmed this?
One of the detectives.
After you gave your statement, approximately how much longer were you at the police station for?
5.5 hours.
And for the entire duration, I know you mentioned earlier, when you first found out that your uncle's house was on fire, you tried to leave, right? At any other point during the time that you were at the police station, did you make any other attempts to leave?
Yeah, at one point I had a panic attack, and I wanted my inhaler, which was in the car, and they wouldn't let me get it. They just brought me outside to breathe fresh air.
Were you asking to leave at all?
Yes, the whole time.
And did they let you leave?
No.
What time did you ultimately leave the police station that night?
Around 11 p.m.
And did you express any concerns when you were leaving?
Yeah, we were scared. So we wanted to know that we were safe. And they kind of just dismissed us.
Is there anything else you want the jury to know about that day?
I'm going to object, Judge,
I'm
to
going
that
to sustain that objection. That's a question. It needs to be a little bit more specific, please.
Was that day a hard day?
It was the hardest day of my life.
I just want to talk talk about a couple other things now. You mentioned earlier Jesse's iPad.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this first. Did anyone in Keith, Jennifer, in their family share their locations with you?
Jesse.
And was that tied to his iPad?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you check the location of that iPad?
Yeah, in February of 2019.
Okay, so this is a couple months later.
Yeah.
And where was when you checked the location, what was the location?
I'm going to object to the hearsay of this.
Can I see everyone, please? Based upon this legal issue that was just brought to my attention, I'm going to give both sides until 10 p.m. tonight to brief this issue. I'm not sure that this is a state versus tier issue. I need more time to look at it. It would have been nice for somebody to put me on notice, but it is what it is. So I'm going to give both sides until 10 o'clock tonight to find a brief, and I will address it tomorrow morning. I'm going to bring the jurors in a little bit later. This will not slow down what our plans were for later this week. It may just be that there won't be a day off in between the end of the cases and summations. Can you ask the jurors to come out?
Judge, can I just ask what the issue that we're briefing is?
The issue of not telling the state of what you were about to elicit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize to you. I think from the beginning of this case, from day one, I've tried every single day I don't try to leave you in there for extended periods of time. I try to keep the case moving and try to deal with any legal issues outside the time frame of the court day. Unfortunately, there's something that was only just brought to my attention, so I didn't have the opportunity to do this in advance, and I'm going to need a little bit more time. So the reality is that I'm going to send you home for today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you back tomorrow morning. Instead of coming back here at 8 o'clock, I'm just going to ask for you to be here at 9 o'clock. That should give me enough time, even if I get you up by 9:30, it still gives me an hour here without you being here to get things done and put on the record, and then we'll get started back up. So I apologize to you for your time, for making you sit in there for a little bit longer. I'll bring you back tomorrow, 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, and we'll continue on. Please don't discuss this case. Don't do any research. Don't try to figure out what the legal issues are. That's for me to do. Remember, you're the fact finders. It's my job to deal with the law. So I hope you have a nice night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. For record purposes, due to a proffer that was provided based upon an objection by the state, research was done on state versus tier, which is 228 NJ 555, 2017 opinion. I'm not sure that state versus tier contemplated the scenario that we're in this case as it relates to this type of evidence. So everybody knows what the proffer was based upon what Ms. Mastalone said at sidebar. So that's the issue that I need to be briefed as to where we're going. And then I'll ask everyone to be back here at 8 a.m. and I will come out soon thereafter and I'll hear oral argument at that time. But again, submissions to me by 10 o'clock tonight, no later. If it comes in at 10:01, I'm not accepting it, and we'll see where we are at that point in time. Now I'll see attorneys at sidebar, please.